Florida Governor Ron DeSantis claims that leftist policies have ruined San Francisco. Have they? Mayor London Breed responds. All right, we're going to start off with what Ronnie D says, and then we're going to go to London Breed. Which one has the upper hand here? I think it's quite obvious. Let's get into it. Here we go.
We're here in the once great city of San Francisco. We came in here and we saw people defecating on the street. We saw people using heroin. We saw people smoking crack cocaine. And you look around, the city is not vibrant anymore. It's really collapsed because of leftist policies. And these policies have caused people to flee this area. They don't prosecute criminals like they do in most parts of the country. And the wreckage has really been sad to see. And so I've seen so many businesses boarded up. I've seen so much riffraff just running around. And it just shows you these policies matter. Leadership matters. They are doing it wrong here. No wonder why we've had so many people move from San Francisco to Florida over the last few years. We got to stop this madness. We need to restore sanity to this country.
Yeah. Tell you what, we're going to jump right in. Okay, so that's Ron. That's what Ron has to say. Let's go back to Mayor London Breed.
Mayor Breed, how do you respond to that ad?
Well, he's using the oldest playbook in politics to get attention, talking bad about what's wrong and not necessarily talking about solutions to fix it. In fact, Speaker Nancy Pelosi has...
I think he was pointing out what's wrong because there's a lot to point out that's wrong in San Francisco. And that's kind of the point. Pointing out solutions, he pointed out solutions. Leadership.
Been actively engaged and working with us in the federal government to help deal with these challenges. President Joe Biden was just here in San Francisco yesterday talking about climate change and artificial intelligence. And so they're talking about solutions.
Who cares?
And how we move our country forward. But unfortunately,
they're not talking about solutions to the issues that San Francisco has right now. That's a bunch of gibberish. That's just a bunch of talking, filling.
Politics, the old playbook of focusing on the negative and targeting places like San Francisco have been, unfortunately, the norm. So we need to turn that around.
Is what he's saying untrue, though?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what his experience was. You know, people are...
Ron outlined riffraff, drugs, human feces, the location he was at. What more do you need to know about his experience? I mean, he stated it right there in the ad. If you're saying you can't figure out what his experience was, maybe you should watch the ad again and pay attention.
Taking what they're seeing in videos and seeing in terms of a snapshot and elevating them. But the people who actually...
It's not just a snapshot. It's on the daily everywhere. So it's not like this is a one-time incident, right? It's just not. How about the poop emoji interactive map? You can find that on our Discord channel. That kind of tells you everything you need to know about feces on the sidewalk. And it is not just a couple of little poop emojis on a map. It is thousands of them, literally thousands of them.
Actually live in the Tenderloin, have businesses in the Tenderloin who are experiencing that. Those are the people we should actually be listening to. We are doing everything we can to make investments in treatment and programs and services, but ultimately I think the work that we're doing around the arrest and collaborating with the state and the federal government are having an impact on helping us get to a better place. It's going to take us some time. This problem was not created overnight.
So there's your back and forth. So Governor Ron, he basically just lays it out there. London Breed, she does have points at the end. Hey, we're doing this, this, and this. All right, but that's going to take a long time. And you're arresting people. Are you throwing anybody in jail? Are you actually cutting down on crime? It doesn't seem like it. Is the open air drug use, is that actually being impacted? Well, time will tell. But we've got an election cycle coming up. And in the meantime, you know, Republicans are just going to go ham on what's going on in a city like San Francisco because it reflects so poorly on leadership. You can't hide what you've got going on here. It's just, you can't do it. So then you have to deflect. You have to just say, well, they're just pointing out the negative. Let's all work together. Well, Ron is saying, hey, let's work together, but throw your vote my way because this is what you've got going on here in San Francisco. This is indicative of where leadership in the city today has taken the city. And if you're okay with that, keep voting blue. 2 thumbs up. Just keep going down that road. But otherwise, got a lot of people moving to Florida. Yeah. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis visited San Francisco on Tuesday as part of his 2024 presidential campaign and had terse words for the city. We saw people defecating on the street. We saw people using heroin. We saw people smoking crack cocaine. Oh, that's not good. And you look around, the city is not vibrant anymore. It's really collapsed due to leftist policies. 100% true. 100% true. You can't argue with that. I mean, you can, but London Breed wasn't even really effective at arguing because there's really not much she can say. The situation is all around her. Ron described it. Period. Kind of game over, right? DeSantis' harsh critiques of San Francisco come at a time when the city is facing record-breaking levels of overdose deaths and office vacancies. San Francisco, like many other cities across the Bay, is also facing a record-setting budget deficit. That budget deficit is right now at about $780 million. And within 5 years, it's expected to grow to $1.3 billion. So you're going to pump some money into these programs. Yes, you are. But I think you're just treading water. You got to really drop the hammer. And I don't see that happening in a city like San Francisco. Or you got to throw a lot of people in jail that are selling drugs. And then you got to deal with all the people addicted to drugs. I don't see that happening. I don't see that as a reality. Just right now, I just don't. It's not happening and won't happen anytime soon. So leadership on the Republican side of things has the upper hand as far as these issues go, because, every major city that has major city problems typically has a Democratic governor behind it or Democratic mayor behind it, right? And governor as well. But I think when you focus on the mayor position for each of these cities, it's pretty obvious. It's like, here's your sign. Well, what kind of policies are they running? Well, yeah, they're running those. Okay. That's how you get to here. Standing at the corner of Geary Boulevard and Hyde Street. And I did check that intersection with the poop interactive map. And lots of poop. Ron wasn't lying. He wasn't lying. There's poop emojis everywhere. If you want to check that out, that comes from a previous podcast I did. That was ripping apart a San Francisco Standard article, and some kid from a college has created this poop emoji where every single one of the poop incidents that happen on the sidewalks and streets of San Francisco that somebody sends in on an app, those get documented. And he's got this map that you can just click on the piece of poop, and it'll take you to a report, and it'll take you to an image of said poop. I mean, only in San Fran, right? We need one in Seattle. I want to see, but we don't have the poop problem in Seattle like San Fran does. So they are doing it wrong here, DeSantis said, adding that criminals aren't adequately prosecuted compared to other parts of the country. 100% true. You've got a George Soros-backed district attorney, right? DeSantis also expressed his dismay at the sight of numerous boarded up businesses and what he described as riffraff roaming the streets. That's a nice word. That's a nice way of putting it. I would say drug addicted, homeless denizens that are out of control, addicted to whatever, and stealing from the community 24/7 to support said addiction. That's what I'd probably say. He cut it down to riffraff. I get that. It's like, what is going on? And it is. It's riffraff. It's riffraff humanity. And San Francisco has brought it on by their policies. It's just clear as day. No wonder why we've had so many people move from San Fran to Florida over the last few years. California's population decreased for the first time in recorded history, the 2020 U.S. Census found. However, contrary to DeSantis' claims, there isn't a mass exodus of Californians headed to Florida. Only 29,000 people officially switched their driver's license from California to Florida in 2022 and 2021. The Times also found that for every 6 Californians who moved to Florida, 5 Floridians moved to California. But San Francisco has its problems. Well, California has a massive tech employment center. And so that's why you've got people moving there. It's not because of, poop on the sidewalk. They don't like that. But if they've got a high paying job, all right, they live a little bit out in the burbs, and they make it happen. But they ain't moving to San Fran, that's for sure. And living in San Fran, we know that for a fact based on cell phone activity and census numbers. But San Fran has its problems. There have been 346 overdose deaths so far this year, with 275 attributed to fentanyl. A recent report issued by San Francisco's Office of the Chief Medical Examiner shows. So there's probably another couple hundred fentanyl deaths there, because oftentimes can't tell if it's fentanyl. It's an overdose, but you just don't know. Medical examiner can't come up with an actual cause of death. And so those numbers to me are really, really low, along with a lot of the crime numbers that people are pointing at and going, our criminal numbers are way down. No, people have just given up and they're not reporting criminal activity anymore. They know what the end deal is, which is the cops aren't going to be able to do anything. And, you've just green lit all of this criminal activity with your policies and with your laws. So, here you are. Along with the fentanyl crisis, the city is facing an office vacancy crisis. 31% of the downtown offices are available for lease or sublease, according to a recent analysis by the Chronicle. San Francisco Mayor London Breed said DeSantis is using the oldest playbook in politics to get attention, and that his comments are devoid of solutions. Well, you're the leader. You should be coming up with solutions. And I've heard a lot of talk from Mayor London Breed. We've done 45 arrests so far. 3 of those folks, we're talking the Tenderloin, 3 of those folks were from San Fran, which kind of proves the whole point that you've got drug tourism going on in San Francisco. You've got an ecosystem based on drugs. It's not homeless people. Let's get with it. Let's update that whole narrative, right? Unfortunately, in politics, well, you heard her say that. Breed said that her recent policies have resulted in a spike in arrests. It's short term. Is it going to have any long-term effect? And the city's collaboration with state and federal officials is also helping to reshape San Francisco and its various communities. Well, the federal officials are the National Guard, and they're coming in on an advisory role. The state sheriffs coming in, yeah, they need some help because you defunded your police and you're shy, 500, 600, 700 cops in the city of San Fran? You're not doing these collaborative efforts that are going to go over the top. You are barely bringing things to par. You know what I mean? You're at a deficit. You're bringing it up to par. There's par. However, Breed declined to say DeSantis' comments about the city were inaccurate. That was interesting. It's like the Fox person is like, is there anything he's saying that's actually wrong? And Breed's like, that pause there kind of told you it all, right? And vowed to invest in more treatment and services for Tenderloin residents because you need it. And that's the thing. You can offer all the treatment and services that you want, but unless people check themselves in voluntarily, ain't going nowhere. And guess what? The new, for lack of a better word, breed of drug addict out there, they're not checking themselves in. They can barely function and think. I don't know what his experience was, Breed said. Again, he told it to you in the commercial. He told you exactly what his experience was. Maybe you weren't listening. Maybe you didn't watch it. I'm not sure. People are taking what they see as videos and seeing in terms of a snapshot and elevating them. Well, it's not one snapshot like we just talked about. But the people who actually live in the Tenderloin, have businesses in the Tenderloin, are screaming bloody murder for you to help them. Period. And how's that going? Yeah. I don't hear a lot of people saying, hey, you know what? Things have gotten a lot better in the Tenderloin. I'm thinking about opening up a new business there. It's people just barely hanging on by their fingertips, right? DeSantis' visit comes amidst a multi-year quibble with California Governor Newsom, who has challenged DeSantis to multiple debates. Governor Newsom, he is a confidence guy. He is all about the confidence. He's just like, hey, I'll debate you. I'll debate you 10 ways from Sunday. And all DeSantis has to do is literally do a quick drive-through and pan camera of the streets of San Francisco in the Tenderloin and in Skid Row. And, you get a 30-second clip of that. Yeah, that's all you need to see here. This is representative of a lot of what's going on in California. If you want your state to end up like this, if you want your city to end up like this, vote for Gavin. Because I think Gavin will, I think he'll run for president. I would do it on one day's notice with no notes. Newsom told Fox News, Sean Hannity, during a recent interview, he's talking about debating DeSantis. You know what? Newsom talks a big game, but he basically just lies about stuff. That's the way I see it. Or doublespeak. How about that? Doublespeak. Whereas Ron DeSantis, he comes right out and takes shots. But for the most part, I don't see him just outright lying like Newsom does. So then the article goes on to talk a little bit about DeSantis sending some of the illegal immigrants to California, and then somebody, wanting to rip him on that. If you're a sanctuary city and Ron sends some people to your city, you should be thankful that you are being allowed to help out this massive situation at the southern border that our current fearless leader-in-chief, who spoke these words, "Buy a man, eat fish the day, teach man to a lifetime," Joe Biden. And he said that in office. And he was quoted. Now it's on a coffee cup. We've got that for merch. Maybe I'll put that over there. But yeah, if you want to keep going down that same road, then keep voting that away. So it's going to be an interesting election cycle. And you take away, the whole Trump thing. You got Trump, you got DeSantis, you got Newsom. Newsom hasn't come right out and said he's running against our fearless leader-in-chief, Joe Biden. But, it's just a matter of time. Isn't it just a matter of time? It's going to be an interesting election cycle. It's going to be interesting. No matter what you say. You got Trump just being picked apart with investigation after investigation that ultimately seemed to yield nothing. On the other hand, you've got somebody who's got a lot going against them, and they're not getting picked apart at all. And that's Hunter Biden and Biden Sr. They're just getting hall pass after hall pass. What's going to happen? But it'll be interesting. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, because I'll be covering it for you right here on News for Reasonable People. And I don't do a lot of political stuff, but this one here, because it's so many of the topics that we cover, and what DeSantis said versus what Breed said, you're kind of like, okay, which one are you going to believe? Which one are you going to believe based on all the topics that we've covered? Pretty clear to me. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.